He had 180,000 pounds, which he sent through what is today called in India the Hawala method of transmitting funds. 40,000 through the company. And he had 25,000 worth of jewelry and other movable assets. And yet, he was the biggest robber in that century, ladies and gentlemen. And Macaulay wrote about Lord Clive that no Englishman who started with nothing has ever in any line of life created such a fortune at the early age of 34. Ladies and gentlemen, the tragedy of this country is that most bureaucrats are worse than Lord Clive. Each one is a Lord Clive, and I believe that more than 3/4 of the members of the Indian cabinet are worse than Lord Clive. This is the plain truth, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the state of corruption. How you will respond to this is your business. Let us think of something else. Wasteful expenditures. I can give you a conspicuous example because it's a current problem which you are facing, which you read about it every day. What about the Commonwealth Games? Every morning that you hear about the Commonwealth Games, about 10 what are called under the Criminal Procedure Code cognizable offences are disclosed. The law requires that whenever there is a suspicion of the commission of a cognizable offence, the police are bound to record a first information report and start investigation. And the police are supposed to be independent of the executive government of the country. I want to know why has not a single case been recorded yet? Why are not some people arrested and taken to jail? Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, what is happening is that the central government has told the CBI, don't investigate these cases and don't take any action. That speaks volumes, the so-called independence of the CBI. Every time somebody is dissatisfied with the police, he goes to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says, all right, case referred to the CBI. Only the other day I found one bench of the Supreme Court saying that we are not going to refer to the CBI anymore, probably because they have come to know of what I have told them about the CBI in a recent petition. However, ladies and gentlemen, this is the state of affairs. This is the state of affairs. Wasteful expenditure and wasteful expenditure at all levels. The late Rajiv Gandhi, may his soul rest in peace, when he became a prime minister as a young man, he made a statement in public that out of the 1 rupee which we spend for the poor person, not more than 10 paisa reaches the beneficiary. Ladies and gentlemen, I think he was exaggerating things. Even 10 paisa don't reach. There are projects in which not a single farthing has reached the beneficiaries, and thousands of crores have gone. This is the wasteful expenditure this country is meeting. And who can control this? Ladies and gentlemen, the next important thing is population control. Every child knows that there is some food in this country, but if the mouths to be fed are in reasonable number, there can be plenty for every mouth. But the stark fact today is that every night, ladies and gentlemen, 2.5 million children go to bed without a single morsel of food in their stomach. They are living upon the lining of their intestines and the lining of their stomach, ladies and gentlemen, to keep them alive. 2.5 million children, not a morsel of food in their tummies. So, ladies and gentlemen, population has got to be controlled. This young man, again, I hope he is somewhere, at least on the outskirts of heaven, Sanjay, the late Sanjay Gandhi. During the emergency, he at least thought of birth control. But the methods that he adopted were so crude that since then, nobody in this country speaks of birth control. He used to catch hold of people on the streets and give them to some anari, some poor novice who didn't know anything about how to perform these operations. And some people died during the emergency. Nobody bothered who was dying and for what. So, ladies and gentlemen, he also made it almost a communal affair because most of the persons who were victims of his designs happened to be the members of the minority community. He had a notion that it is only Muslims who are producing children, which is not correct. But ladies and gentlemen, now it has become an issue of appeasing the minorities. There are scriptures. For example, the Bible says, go forth and multiply. But ladies and gentlemen, that was said at a time when the goods of the world were plenty and the mouths to be fed were few. There was enough to go around and be distributed amongst the people of the country. But when things have changed today, when the goods are few and the mouths are many, common sense and your secular common sense requires that you must put an end to the increasing population of this country. No politician is prepared to talk about it. Why? Because those religious fanatics who have made this some kind of a prohibited activity according to their foolish understanding of religion, their votes will be gone. So no politician will today touch this. And ladies and gentlemen, I suggest that another movement should start in this country. Please control the growth of numbers. This explosion is going to take place one day. One day this crowded planet will burst because of the overpopulation catastrophe which is staring us in the face. Ladies and gentlemen, that famous Malthus, there was a mathematician philosopher called Condorcet. He talked about the growth of population and so on and so forth. But that philosopher thought that when education grows, when people become enlightened, when women particularly become educated and know the trouble about rearing up children and bringing forth a large number of children in this world, ladies and gentlemen, that the growth of numbers will subside. But Malthus read Condorcet and he said that Condorcet is absolutely a gullible fellow. He is living in a world of philosophers, and according to him, he said that there is going to be a population explosion, and he propounded his alarmist theory with great force and vigor. According to me, ladies and gentlemen, the European experience now may to some extent support what Condorcet said, but India has to think of Malthusian nightmare which is facing us every day, but these politicians are totally incapable of dealing with this kind of a threat which we are facing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, I have a lot to share with you, but the trouble is that I have a little time left, and I am myself a person who at least is subject to the discipline of a lawyer in a courtroom, and I don't wish to take more time, but I wish to make one final appeal to you, ladies and gentlemen, that please join in a movement and join with all your faculties, moral, spiritual, financial, fiscal, economic, everything that you can conjure up and everything that you can put in the common pool, and please have these thieves arrested. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that the thieves are those who today are in the position of the ruling power. That is why we are not going after them. And let me now tell you two more facts and then I stop. Ladies and gentlemen, a recent book has appeared in the market. The State Within a State is the title of the book. Read that book. It is the history of the Soviet KGB. It was originally written in Russian. It has been translated in English, and it is available at all bookstores throughout the world, but is not available at any Indian bookstore. These things are accomplished by people in power, ladies and gentlemen, without even having to make a formal order that the book is either confiscated or its import is prohibited. Who are the persons who are in a position to do this? Why is the book not available? On page 123 of that book records an archive from the KGBs, page number so-and-so, chapter number so-and-so, paragraph number so-and-so, in which it is said that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been receiving a regular subsidy from us and he is duly grateful for what we have done for him. Ladies and gentlemen, please have the courage to speak up. The man should come out. I want to know. He's being projected as the future Prime Minister of this country. He might even take charge tomorrow if he wants to. Is he not entitled? Are we not entitled as citizens in a democracy to ask inconvenient questions? Son, come on, stand here and tell us what have you to say. Why don't you file a libel action against these people who have said that you are a recipient of funds from the KGB? The Swiss magazines have written that the late Rajiv Gandhi had $2.2 billion in his account, and after his death, the amount has been inherited by his heirs. Why don't you take action against them? If you don't take action, I will assume that what the magazines are saying is true. In the politics, I don't have to wait for that legal evidence by which we establish the criminal guilt in a court of law. In politics, this is more than enough, ladies and gentlemen, that a respectable magazine declares this, and you do not have the courage even to issue a notice to that company and say that you are lying. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I charge that the highest in this country are guilty of corruption, are guilty of thievery, and are the main and the potent cause of the flourishing hunger in this country. And only when you deal with them successfully will you be able to get the assets which have been lost to the poor man of this country. And thank you.